Welcome to WorldSchool TV with your host, Trina Baldwin. We all share a common passion of travel, and we all share the same desire to educate our kids through the world of travel. And you know what? We all share the same fears as well. So let's blast those fears away and confidently commence or continue our world schooling adventure. Each week we'll be chatting with guests about all things world schooling. We'll be covering travel destinations and events, education options for our kids. We'll talk about what it takes to get going and what it takes to keep going. On WorldSchool TV, we're here to support you in every possible way.
Our story is a little bit different. So we didn't start out with money. We didn't start out with, a big savings or anything. I was a single mom with 4 kids at the time, and I discovered I was pregnant. I was devastated because my youngest was 10 and I could barely afford to feed the 4 kids that I had. What was I going to do? And all of that. So I moved to another province in Canada and I found a house for $10,000. I was making payments on that, but it just didn't feel like home. And then after the baby was born, it still didn't feel like home. I thought maybe we could just settle and make this place home, but it wasn't home to us. So in the middle of the night, one night, I thought we could live in a bus because that would be cheap. So I put an ad on, we'd call it Kijiji, it's the same as Craigslist, that I was looking for a bus and this was my budget and all my specifications. And 3 days later, a guy emailed me and said, I have your bus and I can take payments. And so I made payments, I got this bus, we converted it with free stuff that we found off of Craigslist. And in 3 months, we moved in and took off. And we lived in that with a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a baby.
Wow.
And then we were in the bus, and I'm like, okay, we're in Canada. I didn't want to take it into the States because I had heard it's hard to find camping spots with a bus, like a school bus.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't want to take it into the States, and I knew it was going to get cold pretty fast in Canada, like it was already September.
Mm.
So we parked the bus, I bought tickets to the Dominican Republic, and I rented a little cabin, and then after I bought tickets, rented the cabin, I had $300 for the next 27 days.
Wow.
And we went, and we did it. So, and we just haven't looked back since then.
So have you stayed in the Dominican Republic since then?
No, we've gone other places as well, but we kind of call Dominican Republic home, and we stay here the most, and then we travel from here. Like we'll go back to Canada for a bit, and then recently in August we went to Mexico for 4 months, and because everybody was saying how it's so cheap there, and so we went there and it's different, but it's not as cheap as I thought it was going to be. So then we came here, came back.
So comparatively then, Mexico is not as affordable as Dominican Republic?
It's affordable, but I was expecting it to be less developed than it is.
Okay.
And it's very developed. So like where we are now, there's no Walmart, there's no Starbucks, there's no nothing. So it makes it quite cheap because, you can get a coffee for 5 pesos.
So you wouldn't say that there's a big world schooling community there? Yet.
No, but I'm trying to make that happen.
I can see that. You've certainly piqued my interest.
There's 4 of us. There's going to be 4 of us here all together. So.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So I'm trying to make it happen.
Yeah. So look, any place that you go to has its pros and its cons. What would you say are, we'll go with the cons first and we'll bring the pros in last.
For the Dominican?
Yeah.
Well, it's not as developed as some countries. So, and things run like on their own time. Like
Mhm.
if you think that it's going to take an hour, you better plan for 5.
Yeah. So what are the pros? What do you most love about the Dominican Republic?
I think the thing that I love the most is like the people,
Mhm.
because, you know, for example, when we first came, we lived in a little village and I had $300 to my name for 27 days, you know, and people realized quickly that I didn't have a lot of money, you know, because I would go to the store with my little daily allotment, you know, and I would say, okay, how much is this? How much is this? How much is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people realized that I didn't have a lot of money, and everybody in the village knew where we lived because we were the only people from outside of there. And magically, big sacks of fruit and vegetables would show up like in our yard on our doorstep, you know, because they would go out to where their family is in the country and pick fruit and veg for us and drop it off so that we didn't have to buy.
Wow.
And you know, and then the guy at the store, he doesn't speak any English and I didn't hardly speak any Spanish, but he said, no, you don't pay. When your money comes, you can pay. So he gave me
Wow.
credit, you know, and so they're really, really kind, and, you know, they'll give you they're just very generous and very kind, and, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
always looking out for other people, which is really nice.